Yeah, it was fantastic to have him. He's a phenomenal voice in this topic of the sewage
Yes.
scandal that's rocking our nation. And just to have him there was once again, re-emphasizing one of our long-standing points that Windermere is this nation's greatest natural asset and it needs to be protected. So just to have him there and to bring all his knowledge, all his charisma to the topic of conversation was really exciting to have him.
Yeah. And what was the event today as such? Because you and I spoke a few weeks back about the trouble with, the water in general in this country and the fact that rivers are still polluted more than they should be. And Windermere in particular, because it's a body of water, doesn't have the ability to lose anything horrible that goes into it. What's changed since then, if anything?
Nothing's changed since we last spoke. We actually had the new storm spilling data that was released just a couple of weeks ago now. So last year alone, United Utilities discharged over 8,787 hours of untreated sewage in the Windermere catchment, all of which has then flown into Lake Windermere itself. It takes the total since 2020 to over 27,700 hours of untreated sewage that has found its way into the lake. What we saw with Feargal the other day was that he was joining our weekly strike against sewage. So United Utilities opened up an information centre in the heart of Windermere itself. So once a week between 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the morning on a Monday, we sit outside for an hour to protest the fact that they are dumping sewage into the lake. They can put up as much information as they want. They can say what they like, but that's the truth of the matter. They are dumping sewage into Windermere, and as a result of it, our lake is suffering whilst their dividends continue to increase.
Yeah, I mean, I was staggered last week when I came in back from holiday to do Plank of the Week, and we put Thames Water in there because of the Oxford-Cambridge boat race, where an awful lot of the Oxford rowers complained about being ill. They'd suffered from all sorts of horrible stomach bugs because of the water that they were training in for the race in the River Thames, and the levels of E. coli sort of higher than ever. And all Thames Water said was, well, of course, what we're doing now is we're informing you when the pollution gets so bad that you probably shouldn't go in the water. So we've upped our kind of abilities to tell you where the pollution is, as if that's some kind of, make do and mend. It's not. They have to stop polluting, surely.
Yeah, absolutely, and it just shows, the feeling from the water industry that it's their right to dump sewage, and we just have to deal with it. And what Feargal's so phenomenal at is raising that point that we don't have to put up with this anymore. Right. Since it's been 50 years since privatization, the water companies have extracted all the money that was necessary to improve this system. And, we've got to start asking the question as to where's the money gone, because it's not been put into a service that is being provided for the people of this nation. And for somewhere like Windermere, like I said earlier, it's the country's greatest natural asset, and it's being exploited for profit and for greed.
Right.
And, as a result of that, Windermere goes green every year. And like you're saying about things like E. coli and other nasties that come from sewage directly, the sewage in Windermere is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, contributor to phosphorus in the lake, which is then fueling the blue-green algal blooms in Windermere. Right. Those blooms are potentially toxic to you. Blue-green algae has been known to kill people before, kill dogs, and we are seeing the destruction of Lake Windermere.
And I'm not often one to sort of seek solace in the law, but it's not always the answer. But is there anything sort of legally that you could do? Is there anything you've thought about legally that you could do, injunct the water companies or somehow force them to at least adhere to the basic rules they're supposed to adhere to?
Yeah, I think what you're touching on there is a really interesting point of, well, where is the regulator in all of this? Because right. The regulator has a duty to be watchdogs for the environment and to ensure that the water companies are complying with the law. Lo and behold, they're not. One of the key examples of legislation that we have is the fact that we are only supposed to see storm spilling in exceptional circumstances, which is defined as such a rare and freak occurrence that not one and could possibly predict it to happen, whilst the agency in the Windermere catchment is permitting storm spilling to occur in 0.25 millimetres of rainfall. So a quarter of a millimetre of rain is allowed to fall in the Lake District before United Utilities has got the go-ahead from the Environment Agency to start dumping sewage into the rivers and into Lake Windermere. You know, it's such a huge problem that people need to realize is that the regulation has totally and utterly failed.
Yeah.
They're not fit for purpose. They're not doing their job. And as a result of it, the water companies see this massive loophole and they are exploiting it. And as a result of it, we suffer.
It is absolutely shocking. What's your next move? What have you got planned? I mean, you're going to keep these strikes up, obviously, but what else can we expect from you?
Yeah, well, funnily enough, our next strike, which comes on Sunday, it's going to come on Monday, but we're going to start it on Sunday because it marks the 24th week since we've been striking outside of United Utilities Information Centre. So to mark that and to celebrate, we're going to strike from 10 a.m. on the Sunday to 10 a.m. on the Monday. So we're going to do 24 hours straight outside of United Utilities Information Centre. We've got a few things that we'll do in that period of time, but we're also being joined by Steve Coogan. He's going to come down and lend his voice to the strikes and to raise that awareness and profile. So that's coming this week. And then in terms of what's coming in the future, it's definitely worth people signing up to the campaign, keeping an eye on what's coming, because there's some really exciting stuff on its way.
Okay. Matt, good to see you again. Thanks very much indeed. Keep up the good work. We'll see what we can do. Matt there talking to us about the terrible state of Lake Windermere.